everyone, this is Mrs. Carroll, and I thought it would be fun to finish reading our book, Counting by Sevens. We're about halfway through, and so it might be fun to know what happened to our main character and how her story continues. So I am prepared. I have my bottle of water in case I get a frog in my throat, and I have a box of tissue just in case I were to need it. But my plan is that I'll read 1 or 2 chapters, so it's not too long, and I thought I would start with just a little bit of the last chapter so you can remember where we left off. So here we go. Part of chapter 28, I think it is. Yes, chapter 28, just the end. Dell hangs around for a while, but he's just in the way. I can see that he's pleased with himself as he finally says goodbye and walks to his car. At Jameson, a lot of people thanked him, and he looks like someone who hasn't been thanked very often. One of his shoes is untied, but with his belly leading the way, he has a new swagger in his step. I don't see anything anymore, but I can't help but notice. According to Patty Wynne, who seems to have seen her share of heartache, activity, and a glass of water cure almost anything if you give enough time. So she makes me drink 2 glasses of water. Then she sits down next to me and says, "I will help you find a good place for you. I will not let them take you until we do. You have my word. You will stay here until we have the answer." I would like to express my gratitude, but I can't, because I can't express anything. I only nod. Patty gets up from the table and starts unloading little square bottles of nail polish into the back cupboard. People usually find a good place for stray dogs or for the elderly when they can no longer go upstairs or use a can opener. Finding a good place for a kid seems like a much bigger challenge. Chapter 29. A memorial service for my parents is held in a neighborhood community center on the 2nd Saturday after the accident. Dell drives me there, and May and Patty come too. Quang Ha has other plans, and I watch him head down the alley with what looks like bolt cutters in his backpack. Lenore meets us at the community center, and I see the nurse from Jameson who helped me when I hit my head. I can't look at them. I can't look at anyone. As we walk to the front doors, May takes my hand. It feels warm. It is colder than normal, and a sea of mostly unfamiliar faces press too close, saying some version of how sorry they are. I'm not sure that I can breathe. The air is sticking at the top and the bottom of my lungs. They put me in the front row. Workers from my dad's union organized this event, and 3 people are speakers. I do not hear a single word that they say. On an easel next to the podium is a poster-sized picture of my mom and my dad taken back when my dad had hair and when my mom was skinny. They have their arms around each other and they are laughing. I know this picture. It sits at an angle on my mom's bureau in a frame made from seashells. I remember when I was younger asking my mom why they were so happy in the photo, and she said because they knew one day I was coming into their lives. It wasn't logical, but it made sense. After the service, everyone is given white balloons and are ushered outside. The helium-filled inflatables say Jimmy and Roberta in chunky purple letters. The idea is to release them while some guy in a suit, but also wearing sandals with white socks, sings about love being the answer to everything. I watch in horror. Why do you think she's watching in horror? I know for a fact that the latex lumps will end up tangled in electrical wires. They will find their way into rivers and streams and even travel for miles out into the oceans, where they will choke fish and endanger marine mammals. But I cannot find my voice to do anything about these future calamities, because it is someone's idea of inspirational to release the bobbing weapons. Out of the corner of my eye, I see a toddler refusing to let go of his helium prize. His parents finally manage to pry the ribbon from his clenched fist. As the 4-year-old sobs in agony, I know that he is the only one here who understands. and we had the word calamities, meaning a great misfortune or disaster. A small article with a postage stamp-sized photo of me is in the local paper, and the fund is started for my future education. My father's employer makes a generous contribution. There are other people on the list of donors, but they are only names I've heard in passing, not associated with faces that I would easily recognize. The only person I know is Jairo Hernandez from Mexicano Taxi Company. I write Jairo a thank you note, and he calls happy polished nails. It's 2.5 weeks after the accident. I used the stationery from here, so he took a guess that they might know where I am. Patty is surprised that a man wants to speak to me. I explain he is an old friend. He is a friend, and a lot older than me, so I'm not lying. Jairo asks how I'm doing and then he says, I want you to call me if you need a ride somewhere. I say, thank you, I will. It is quiet for a long time, but I know he is still on the phone line. Patty is watching me, so I nod and try to look like I'm listening to more than silence. I finally say, did you enroll in school? He says, I haven't done that yet. How is school going for you? I could just say fine, but it feels wrong, so I say, I'm taking a break from that. He says, me too. I add, but I'm going to the library today. Maybe that's some kind of start. I hang up the phone, and later in the afternoon I ask Patty if I can go to Beale. She says yes. Once inside the building, I go upstairs and find the spot behind the donut chair. I crawl back there, but I don't sleep at first. Instead, I watch the world from this protected place. The library has regulars. A lot of them talk to themselves, but they do it quietly because quiet is enforced here. After a long nap, I go back down to the first floor. The computer room is the most popular space in the building. I'm surprised, but a lot of the people who I think might be homeless, from the amount of things they are forced to leave downstairs at the front desk, go online. I can see that they check their Facebook pages. I watch these people click through pictures and view the same kind of videos as the bored-looking teenagers who show up once school is out. I'm not sure why this is reassuring, but it is. I go outside and sit on the steps. I'm not waiting, I'm just being. Time exists only in my mind. For someone grieving, moving forward is the challenge, because after extreme loss, you want to go back. Maybe that's why I don't calculate anything now. I can only count in the negative space. I'm on a different planet now. I only speak when I absolutely have to. Otherwise, I do my best to be invisible and stay out of the way. No matter how hard they try, other people do not understand because I'm incapable of communication. And that is why the deepest form of pain comes out as silence. May, when she's not at school or with her friends, talks to me about her life. I listen, but I don't answer. I spend most of my day with Patty. She's there for me, and just being there is 99% of what matters when your world falls apart. I know for a fact that Kweha hates me, but I'm okay with that. I have brought nothing positive into his life. Now he has to wait longer to use the bathroom, and the hot water in the shower runs out more quickly. I try to do everything last, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. I don't want to cause trouble, so I haven't said anything about being a vegetarian. I just push the chicken or the pork pieces off to the side, and then later transfer them to a napkin, and then at the end of the meal, I sneak them into the trash. I know that I'm eating meat bits that escape this tragically simple procedure, but the principle of my decision is intact, even if the reality is compromised. All reality, I decide, is a blender where hopes and dreams are mixed with fear and despair. Only in cartoons and fairy tales and greeting cards do endings have glitter. I somehow make it through the first month. I dress and brush my teeth when they tell me to, and I experience the hollow feeling of complete loss, which is emptiness. Meaning has been drained from my life. I force myself to think of anything but the one thing that I'm actually always thinking about, and that is so exhausting that I sleep more than I ever have. I am a shadow. I no longer dream in color. I don't count by sevens, because in this new world, I don't count. Well, I hope you enjoyed chapter 29. Come back for the next chapter. Thanks, guys.